is going to an interview now. This is something that you should understand well, because getting yourself shortlisted is a very very big task. Now if you have got yourself shortlisted, then you should ensure that you grab the opportunity. So preparing for interview is very important. And when I say prepare for interview, does not mean that you have to spend months and months together to prepare yourself. What I mean by preparing yourself with interview is that you should have a clear process for how do I prepare for a interview. For me, the process is related to a few things. First is, you should be well prepared for all the basic questions, like tell me about yourself, run me through your resume, tell me. Sometimes they ask you about your personal life, right? Sometimes they ask you about college life. So these are a few, this is just the icebreaker. They start off with this because they don't know where to start the question, and it is more likely to come, or very highly likely to come in all the interviews. At least all the interviews that I have gone through, it has come to me, right? And so you should be prepared for it. So when I say prepare, it's not like you should have memorized all those things, but you should have bullets in your mind that, okay, when somebody asks me, tell me about yourself, then these are the 5 things that I am definitely going to talk about. Right? You need not talk about all the history of your family when you are talking about yourself. You may include your family into it, but you need not talk a lot about it. So be prepared of what you want to say during that. This could also be things that you can say, that things like I am somebody who is very passionate about finance. You can talk about, or you can say about these things in the interview to start off. That gives them that, okay, this guy is finance, okay, this guy is interested in finance, so let us ask him questions related to finance. If you are able to answer those questions which are related to finance, you are through with the interview. The second set of questions that you should be definitely be ready with is the company related section. Now, this is generally applicable to large companies. Small companies may not be looking at it. For large companies, most of the large companies, and specifically most of the MNCs, focus a lot on the questions related to their own company. So you should be clear of what industry that company is working on, what are the products, what are the services that company does, which markets this company works on. And you should also have some of the financial understanding of that company, right? Like the revenue, the profitability, the balance sheet size. If you're looking at a financial services company or a bank, you should know the balance sheet size. If you're looking for a mutual fund, you should know the AMC. All these things are basic stuff that you should be prepared with. They may or may not ask, but you should be prepared with, because if they ask and you don't know, a lot of people take it very negatively. They said that, okay, you've not done your research on the company. When I'm trying to hire somebody for a research analyst, they should have actually done basic research related to the company. The next thing on the resume that you've written, now you see, when we wrote our resumes, we wrote all those things that we want them to ask the questions on. And if you are able to answer on those topics, you are good in the interview. There is a very high chance that you will be through that interview. On the other hand, if you are not able to talk about them, then you are gone. For example, in this sample resume, if you see, we have written about Indigo Airlines. So we built a model on Indigo Airlines. Now, if you are not able to talk, if somebody asks, okay, you built a model on Indigo Airlines, so tell us about the revenue drivers, tell us about the cost drivers, how did you went ahead and forecasted the numbers, what are the things that you took into consideration? If you are not able to answer these basic questions related to this, then you're gone. And if you're able to answer the questions related to this, then you are through, more likely to be through with the interview. So understand this, that your resume, as I said, is a match fixing. Now, what you are telling to the interviewer indirectly is, ask me questions related to this. And if you are able to answer this, they are more than happy, because the way you made the resume was according to the requirement of the company based on the skill set. Now, if you're able to answer those questions, it means that you have the right set of skill set to be put into the company. So when I say well prepared, these are things which are in your control, and this can be done very quickly. Basic questions and your resume related stuff, you should be always thorough about it. The only new thing that is there that you have to do for each company is the research on that company, and that should not take you more than half an hour to 1 hour. Now, if you remember, I said a lot of times the HR guys call you up and fix up a technical interview. Now, during that initial call, you should check with the HR person that what will be the interview process. It is very important to know the interview process. There are 1 round, 2 rounds, 3 rounds, 5 rounds, 7 rounds, or what kind of rounds are. If the HR say that there will be 3 rounds, okay, so are these all technical rounds, or they are other things? So some, as I said yesterday, some people do a psychometric test, so that is 1 round. So then they may do a technical test or the technical interview, and then finally do a HR interview. So this is 3 rounds. So you should get this information when you are getting the first call from them saying that, okay, we are going to schedule an interview. Okay, great, schedule an interview, but tell me what is the general process in your company for that interview. That is very helpful, because that can help you plan. Now, in an interview, whether it is a written, or maybe sometimes they send you Excel sheets, whatever kind of interview it is, they are testing with these things, right? They are testing for these things: your analytical ability, your modeling slash Excel sheets skills, and your general finance understanding. Majority of them are searching or looking out for this. On top of it, they are also looking for communication, right? Now, how are they testing for this? Now, one of the things that most of the equity research, investment banking, even the FP&A role, credit roles, they try and test your analytical ability through guesstimates or guess estimates, right? So there are a lot of these guess estimates which are available on the internet. You can search for it. I can give you an example. Some of my students were asked this, that, okay, tell me, how many letters do you have in your resume? How many letters? Not even words. How many letters? Now, first they ask you, okay, did you make this resume? Yeah, I made this resume. So how many how many letters are there in that uh, particular in your resume? Now, it's a question for which they're not expecting a right answer. They want to understand how you get to the answer, right? So your typical answer could be, okay, now if I look at my resume, it is a one-page resume. One-page resume typically will have 20 to 25 lines. So it has got 25 lines. Each line has got about 7 to 10 words, right? And each word will have about 3 to 5 letters. So 5 letters into 10 words, if I say 50 per line, and then multiplied by the number of lines, that gives you an approximation. They're not looking at the right answer or the wrong answer. They want to understand what you are getting to. I got one in my interview also, when I did a long time back, 2008. They asked me, can you tell me how many Maruti 800s are there in India? Now, a question that obviously I did not know an answer to, but I told them that, okay, 10% of all the cars that are there in India are Maruti 800. It was very spontaneous. That happened. Now, this guy asked me, okay, tell me, how did you arrive at that 10%? I said that, you see, I have spent a large part of my last 5 7 years, apart from my articleship in Nagpur. So in Nagpur, when I look at cars going past me, I see out of every 10 cars there are two cars which are Maruti 800. So typically it is 20% of the cars which is Maruti 800. But I am coming from this. Nagpur is a comparatively a smaller city. The larger cities will have less number of Maruti 800 because they would have moved to other stuff. So that is one reason. And then obviously at that point of time there was news that Maruti was shutting down the 800. So obviously that would have reduced the number. So based on that, I gave a answer about 10%. Now there is no right or wrong answer, and they're not expecting really a right or wrong answer. They want to understand your thought process. So this is one kind. So you can search for such guess estimates that are available, and then go ahead and think through how you can answer for. Similarly, they also can do small case studies, like some of these places where the students go for interview. They are asking for, okay, tell me, how will you go ahead and forecast the employee cost for a service based organization? So these small case studies and things they are using to understand your analytical ability. A lot of these companies are also sending out case studies to understand your Excel finance, the general finance, and the modeling skills. I will show you a few case studies that some of my students have undergone through. Next is, what they're also wanting to know is your general understanding of finance. Now, all this, or majority of it, is from the perspective of somebody who is 0 to 2 years or 0 to 3 years kind of a experience. They want to understand your general understanding of finance. Now, how they obviously do that is by asking you questions related to what is happening in the finance world. So what are the latest happening? Are you aware of that? And then they may actually get inside it and ask for your understanding, or gauge your understanding of those particular points. If you are somebody who has just read about it, there are a lot of people who will not read about it. If you have read about it, then they try and gauge whether you have read it in just the headline or you've gone in detail about it. So they're trying to understand your understanding of general finance. At the end of the interview, obviously, if it is a face-to-face or a online interview, where obviously it's not about the case study, then what you have to also do is ask question. Now this is a must. You should always ask a question. Now uh, most of the people will say what questions to ask. Now you should always ask questions related to the profile. What will be my profile? You should always ask about what will be my growth path, how people progress in the company. From, okay, if I join at this level or the analyst level, then what is my progress, or how long does it take to progress to the next level and the subsequent levels? And what skills I will acquire in this particular roles, what new skills will I acquire in this particular role? So these are things that you have to talk about. A lot of time the recruiters or people, the hiring manager, already would have spoken about the profile, saying that, okay, this is the profile. You can also ask about the company if you're not very sure of the company. If it is, let's say, a startup or a smaller company, you can ask more details about a company. If it is not already available on the internet, you should ask questions related to the company also. Always have a question. Don't be worried whether your interview was good or not. Don't be worried. Still ask those